Hey guys, Mike again from Grinding Gears Garage. We're out here in our shop getting ready to dive into another technical-ish type of video. We're going to be building a leak down tester for our two-strokes. A couple weeks ago, about a week ago, we did a compression test. We showed you guys how to do that. That's a good tool to diagnose any issues that you have with your motors, two-stroke, four-stroke, multi-cylinder engines, that kind of stuff. This is a nice tool for you two-stroke folks out there. Two strokes run a little bit different than four strokes, obviously. Two strokes inject the oil and gas mixture into the crank assembly as a whole. The oil is used for lubrication, the gas is used for combustion. But since all that ends up in the crank case assembly, you run into issues if you have a crank case seal, can't talk today, or gasket, not working properly, leaking. You can have issues with it not being able to run right. It won't start sometimes. It'll run lean. So we're going to go over how to build one and how to apply it to testing your two strokes. We're going to do it on our Blaster today. In a couple weeks when we get our LT250R back up and running, we're going to do a compression test and a leak down test for you guys on that as well. So we're going to go over the supplies that we bought. You can tweak this however you'd like for your specific two-stroke, quad, or bike. But we're going to go over what we purchased, some of the supplies you need, and some of the tools. Alright, so we're back over here at our workbench. Going to go over the supplies and some of the tools needed to do a leak down test. We pretty much built a whole kit for ourselves. Obviously, all of this isn't needed. The main things you need to find out before you get started with doing a leak down test is first you need to know about what your intake boot size is. We bought a couple sizes. I think this is a let's see here. It's a 1 inch to 3/4 adapter, 1.25 inch, 1.5 inch, 2 inch. We're probably going to buy some other ones and chuck them up in a lathe and machine them for custom sizes. But this will get us good in the neck of the woods of what we need for the carb boots we have here now. Then we have a brass 3/4 to 1/4 adapter. This will thread into all four of these. And then that'll neck us down to our 1/4 inch size, which we have the rest of the leak down tester assembled with. So we just have a small nipple here, which threads to your T. And then from your T, it goes to a gauge. And we did a 0 to 30 PSI. The lower rated gauge, the better, pressure-wise. You're pretty much only going to pressurize your motor to about 10 PSI. You don't want to go real crazy, or you're actually going to blow out the good seals that you had. We chose one with a back port. That way we can actually turn this out towards us so we can see it a little bit better. And then from there we go to another nipple, which then threads into a ball valve. We spent a little bit more money for a ball valve so we could regulate the air coming in a little bit better. Not necessary. You can buy a cheaper one. We spent a little bit more. Then we have a 1/4 inch airline fitting. We're actually going to take our air compressor, neck the pressure down way low, and use a ball valve just to regulate enough PSI to do our test. And then we have these, which are expandable freeze plugs. Again, we have a wide variety of sizes. You're going to put this in your exhaust port. So you're going to find out what size your exhaust port is, take your exhaust off, just take a quick measurement. These are adjustable. This one goes 1/8, this one goes, they pretty much all go about 1/8, actually, now that I look at it. Anyway, you can get some adjustment out of it. It'll get you close. If it doesn't fit, you can always put some electrical tape around it, wrap it real tight, and then the expansion of the rubber will actually give you a good seal around your exhaust port. Most important part is putting this together nice and tight with a lot of Teflon tape so everything's sealed real good, so your leaks are pretty much only in your motor. You don't have any leaks coming out anywhere else. You need to, pay real close attention putting this together to make sure you have everything nice and tight and sealed. Then we have a bottle of water and soap. We're going to spray this on the motor as we're doing our test to see if there's any leaks. It'll start bubbling because of the soap. And then we just have a few tools to put our tester together, a pair of channel locks, small adjustable. Then we have just a few tools to take our quad apart to where we can access the intake boot and the exhaust port. So we're going to set up and we're going to show you guys how we assemble our tester assembly, and then we'll go from there. So for you blaster guys, you'll be able to get all your measurements ahead of time actually. What we found is we took our 3/4 to 1 adapter and we cut the 3/4 threads right off the face of it. And this fits perfectly in our intake boot. So we're just going to take our 3/4 to 1/4 adapter, wrapped it in some Teflon. And we're just going to thread that in there. We're going to tighten this up here in a bit. And then we're going to take our adapter here. This is French vise. I'm going to take Teflon. And we're going to wrap. Sorry about that. Camera died. What I was saying is you're going to take your nipple, wrap that in Teflon tape, thread it into your adapter. And then from there we're going to take our T and thread that onto our nipple. And we're going to tighten everything up. Like I said before, you want to make sure all this is nice and tight, because if you get a leak in your tester, you're pretty much not testing anything. It's kind of pointless. So now that we have that done, we're going to take our slightly longer nipple, and we're going to wrap Teflon tape around that. And then you take your ball valve. Ignore the fact that I just wrapped that tape on there backwards. Thread your ball valve on. Tighten all that up. We're going to take our gauge. Apply Teflon to that. Once again, we're going to tighten everything else up. And last but not least, we're going to take our fitting. And tighten that up as well. So there you go. It's our finished leak down tester. Now we're going to move over to our quad, install this, get our air compressor hooked up, and get everything plumbed in. We're going to show you guys how we do the leak down on our blaster. Alright guys, we're over here at our blaster. We brought our leak down tester over. As you can see, this is why we use the gauge with the fitting out the back. It's much easier to look at. You're not trying to peek up inside to see the pressure level. We took our exhaust off and you can see the adjustable freeze plug that we used. Fits in there real nice. We used a 1/2-inch wrench, tighten it up. So we have our air compressor over here. We just used our small pancake compressor. Obviously we have a large 220 compressor, not really ideal for this. We don't want to pump a ton of air into the motor, obviously. So we have our regulator set up for right around 10 psi. Once we hook this, so we're gonna have our hook our air line up here, and our air line's hooked up. Slowly So we have right around 8 psi. Open that up a little tiny bit. So right around 10. And if you guys listen, a really, really, really bad air leak. So this motor needs to come out and be regasketed. We have a full gasket set for it. But the correct way to do this is you're going to apply 10 psi to the motor and then shut your ball valve. And it's not supposed to do that. I'll say that. The correct way to do it is apply the 10 psi, and then when you shut your ball valve, the motor technically should hold at 10 psi. Obviously, you may have a slight leak that leaks a little bit, but this is just pure failure. That's right, everything just pisses right out of the motor. So it looks like our blaster has failed the leak down test. Thankfully, it has good compression, so we can start off with a good motor once we regasket it. So we'll do a video in a couple days, pulling the motor out of this thing, ripping it apart, putting new gaskets in it. We'll do a fresh trans oil in it as well. So that's pretty much how to do a leak down test. In a couple weeks, when we have our Suzuki LT back up and running, we're going to do a compression test and a leak down test on that. Pretty much every quad and bike we get from here on out, we're going to do either a compression and leak down or just a compression test, just so you guys can see how it's done for that make and model. So that's pretty much it from us here at Grinding Gears Garage. Thanks for watching. Please like the video, share it, subscribe, definitely. We're trying to increase our views and get our channel out there. We like doing this. It's a lot of fun. We learn a lot as we learn a lot with you guys as we do these videos. So until next time, you guys have a great one, and we'll talk to you guys later.